The Carnival. We had always been fascinated by the stories of the abandoned carnival, so when we heard that it had finally been left to rot, we knew we had to see it for ourselves. As we approached the old gates, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement mixed with fear. "Are you guys ready for this?" I asked, turning to my friends. "I don't know, man. This place gives me the creeps," said Jack, his voice quivering with fear. "Don't be such a baby, Jack," retorted Sarah, rolling her eyes. "We came all this way, we might as well see what all the fuss is about." With a deep breath, we pushed open the rusted gates and stepped into the carnival. As we walked through the empty streets, we could feel something watching us, a sense of danger that hung in the air like a thick fog. "This place is giving me the chills," I said, trying to break the uneasy silence. "I know what you mean," said Emma, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's like we're being watched." As we approached the first ride, we heard a faint whisper in the shadows. We froze, unsure of what to do. "Did you guys hear that?" whispered Jack, his voice shaking. Suddenly we heard a loud creaking noise coming from the ride, and we saw a flash of movement out of the corner of our eye. "Let's get out of here!" screamed Sarah, as we began to run towards the exit. But the carnival was a maze of rusted rides and broken attractions, and as we walked deeper into the heart of the park, we began to realize that we were not alone. "I don't like this, guys," said Emma, her voice trembling. "I think we should turn back." "We can't turn back now," I said firmly. "We have to see this through." And then, things started to get worse. We heard screams in the distance, and we could see the flicker of flames in the darkness. "What the hell is going on?" yelled Jack, his voice rising in panic. Panic set in, and we knew that we had to find a way out before it was too late. "We have to stick together," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "We can make it out of here if we stay together." But as we ran through the carnival, we realized that it was not going to let us leave so easily. "What is happening?" cried Sarah, as the rides began to move on their own and the ground shook beneath our feet. And then we saw him. The clown. He emerged from the shadows, his face twisted into a maniacal grin. "Well, well, well," he said, his voice dripping with malice. "Looks like we have some new playthings. We tried to fight back, but he was too strong. We have to get out of here!" I yelled as we tried to escape his grasp. And then, just when we thought it was all over, we saw a glimmer of hope. A light appeared in the distance, a sign of safety and salvation. "Look!" shouted Emma, pointing towards the light. "We have to get there!" But as we approached the light, we realized that it was not what it seemed. "This is a trap!" screamed Jack, as we stepped into the light and were swallowed in, with no way of escape. And with that, our fate was sealed. We were trapped within its walls forever, destined to become just another part of the cursed amusement park. The Emperor's Wives. In the Year of the Dragon, in ancient China, a lowly servant girl named Li Mei caught the eye of the emperor. Her beauty and intelligence captivated him, and soon she became his favorite concubine. Li Mei found herself thrust into a world of power and politics, surrounded by other concubines who were all vying for the emperor's attention. Some of them had been in the palace for years, and they resented Li Mei's sudden rise to favor. One of the other concubines, a woman named Zhou, was particularly jealous of Li Mei. Zhou had been the emperor's favorite for many years, and she saw Li Mei as a threat to her position. "You may have the emperor's favor now," Zhou sneered at Li Mei one day, "but don't think it will last forever. He has a fickle heart, and there are many of us who would be happy to take your place." Li Mei knew that Zhou was right. She had seen other concubines come and go, their fortunes rising and falling with the emperor's whim. She knew that she had to be careful if she wanted to stay in the palace and retain her power. As the months went by, Li Mei worked hard to win the emperor's favor. She studied the art of poetry and calligraphy, and she learned how to dance and sing. She was always careful to be respectful to the other concubines, even when they were unkind to her. Despite her efforts, Li Mei could feel the other concubines closing in on her. They whispered behind her back, spreading rumors and lies in an attempt to undermine her. Li Mei knew that she had to be vigilant if she wanted to stay in the emperor's favor. One day, as Li Mei was walking in the gardens, she overheard a conversation between two of the other concubines. "I heard that the emperor is getting tired of Li Mei," one of them said. He's been spending more time with Joe lately. I wouldn't be surprised if Li Mei is out of favor soon. Li Mei's heart sank. She knew that the other concubines were always watching, always waiting for their chance to take her place. She knew that she had to act fast if she wanted to save herself. That night, Li Mei slipped into the Emperor's chambers. She had a plan, and she hoped that it would work. "My Emperor," Li Mei said, kneeling before him, "I have heard that some of the other concubines are plotting against me. They want to see me fall from favor and take my place." The Emperor looked at her, his eyes cold. "And why should I believe you?" he said. Li Mei took a deep breath. She knew that what she was about to say could cost her everything. "Because I love you, my Emperor," she said. "I would do anything to protect you, even if it means risking my own life." The Emperor studied her for a long moment, and Li Mei held her breath. Finally, he spoke. "Very well," he said. "I will keep an eye on the other concubines, but if I find out that you are lying to me, the consequences will be severe." Li Mei bowed her head, relieved. She knew that she had bought herself some time, but she also knew that she could never let her guard down. As the weeks went by, Li Mei watched as the other concubines became bolder in their attempts to undermine her. She saw the way they flirted with the Emperor, the way they whispered in his ear when they thought she wasn't looking. One night, as Li Mei was walking through the palace gardens, she was attacked by a group of the other concubines. They had been waiting for their chance to get rid of her, and now they had it. The Emperor was filled with rage and sorrow. He ordered that the other concubines be punished, but it was too late for Li Mei. She had sacrificed everything for her love for him, and she paid the ultimate price. Eleanor the healer. Eleanor was a woman ahead of her time. A skilled physician, she had traveled across medieval Europe, sharing her knowledge and healing skills with anyone who needed it. But she had faced many obstacles and prejudices along the way, and this incident was no different. Eleanor had arrived in a small village in France, hoping to offer her services to the locals. But she quickly realized that something was wrong. The villagers were all suffering from a mysterious illness, and no one knew what was causing it. "Who are you?" a man asked as Eleanor approached the town square. "I am Eleanor, a physician," she replied. "A woman physician?" the man scoffed. "We have no use for a woman's medicine here." Eleanor was taken aback but refused to let this setback discourage her. Eleanor set to work, examining the sick and collecting samples for analysis. She soon realized that the illness was caused by a contaminated water source, but she had no way of purifying it. As she pondered her next move, she heard a commotion outside. She went to investigate and found a group of men arguing with a young woman. "Who are you?" Eleanor asked the woman. "I'm the village witch," the woman replied. "And these men don't like that I'm trying to help the sick." Eleanor looked at the men who sneered at the woman. "She's a witch, and she's only making things worse," one of them said. Eleanor knew that the woman was not a witch but a healer like herself. She had to do something to help her. "Listen," Eleanor said to the men. "I am a physician, and I know what's causing the illness, but I need your help to purify the water source." The men looked at her skeptically. "Why should we trust you?" one of them asked. "We don't need a woman's medicine," another man said. Eleanor knew that she had to stay composed, even though her blood was boiling. "Because I'm trying to help," Eleanor replied. "And if we don't work together, more people will die." The men grumbled, but eventually agreed to help. They worked throughout the night, purifying the water source and distributing it to the sick. Slowly but surely, the villagers began to recover. Eleanor and the village witch worked side by side, tending to the sick and offering words of comfort. And in the end, they were able to save the village from the mysterious illness. As Eleanor prepared to leave the village, the young woman approached her. "Thank you," the woman said. "I was afraid that I would be burned at the stake like so many other healers." Eleanor smiled at her. "You're not a witch," she said. "You're a healer just like me, and together we can make a difference." The young woman nodded, and Eleanor knew that she had made a difference in this village, just as she had in so many others. As she rode away from the village, Eleanor couldn't help but think about the obstacles and prejudices she had faced throughout her journey. But she knew that it was all worth it, to be able to help those who needed it most. "You know, I never get tired of being right," Eleanor said to her horse. Her horse snorted in response, as if it understood. "But seriously," Eleanor continued, "I hope that one day women like us won't have to fight so hard to be heard." Her horse whinnied, and Eleanor laughed. I know," she said. "It's a crazy idea, but maybe, just maybe, someday it will happen." And with that, Eleanor rode off into the sunset, ready for her next adventure. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notification, and leave a like. Until the next journey, thanks for watching.